Today we're doing a video. We're going to do what your rank says about you. And how, like, rank isn't everything, and trophies isn't everything, and all those stats don't always matter. But in general, these are some stereotypes that kind of come along with your selected rank. By the way, this is my club. W shout out. So we're going to go in. Your boy's stuck in Legendary 1 right now. He hasn't really played. So, if you're bronze in Brawl Stars, chances are you've just played like 3 games in your entire life as ranked. Like, you probably just unlocked rank and you're like, oh, let me try this out, and then got bored with it and either deleted the game or just played with friends and friendlies or something. Chances are you just don't play the game or ranked game mode in general. Now, if you're in silver, you're at the point where you've actually played at least 10 games usually, maybe even more. So you've put in somewhat effort into the ranked game mode, but again, you still haven't really put in enough time to see any improvements or progress based on your skill. So you're really just kind of like, if you're stuck in silver, you just simply haven't put enough time in, as well as like bronze is the same way. These are kind of those 2 ranks that you can't really judge somebody skill wise. You just kind of know that like they don't play ranked, and that's just how it is. Now, the next rank, gold, is kind of where you first start seeing actually like skill. I mean, with lack of a better word, if you're in gold and you're stuck in gold, chances are you have played significant amount of time in ranked. Like, you've actually put in a lot of time in ranked, and you're probably stuck in that gold 3 to D1 category, as in you can't rank up. Like, you're just stuck. If you're generally just stuck in gold 3, this is because the elo system for the first time is actually trying to rate you and put you into the rank you belong in. So at this point, gold, you still have no bans. It's really quick matchmaking. So if you put in enough time, you should just hit diamond eventually. But there's something holding you back if you're in gold. It's either you haven't put that enough time in, which at this point in gold, you've already put a significant amount of time. So that shouldn't be the biggest issue. Or there is just, let's be honest, some sort of skill issue stopping you. Usually if I see gold players, they're like gold 3 and I help them get to D1. They're usually just new gen players, like they just started the game this year or last year and haven't really played. They never played Power League. You won't have your Power League players at gold and ranked. It's unseen. All right, but obviously something's missing in your gameplay. You're a new gen player. You're very new to the game, but you're willing to put the time in. You're just not there yet. Now, diamond, this is like where you've actually finally started thinking about draft picks, hopefully. But you can still see a lot of bad randoms in diamond as well. So usually if you just put enough time into the game, you will get over that gold 3 hump and eventually land in diamond. And then if you play every season, you'll get the boost to diamond. So it'll be really easy to push. I know my first season I blew past diamond like it was nothing, but I know some people who are just stuck in diamond, and it really is, the elo system is brand new for them. You know, it's still very hard on your first time ever hitting diamond. Like, we say it's easy to go past diamond, imagine being stuck in diamond, blah, 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 blah. But I play on my alt accounts. I've pushed a mythic on my alt before. It's hard without the rank boost, all right? Just because we did it like weeks and weeks and weeks and months ago doesn't mean it's necessarily just all of a sudden easy. I low-key respect people who are stuck and they keep trying. But basically, if you're in diamond right now, you're either experiencing extremely terrible randoms who probably shouldn't be in ranked game mode, people with just power 9s, weird brawlers, and not good draft picks, or you just don't have a team to play with, because once you get to these later ranks, you really just need a team to play with. Solo queue is kind of painful. But chances are it's not honestly your fault if you're stuck in diamond. Usually most diamond players are, I mean, there's obviously people in there who are the bad randoms, but if you're just generally like a decent player and you're stuck in diamond, I mean, yeah, it happens. There's 2 type of diamond players: the one who's stuck in there because of other people, or the one who's making other people stuck in diamond. So mythic is kind of that first step into the right direction, I would say. My first season playing ranked, I got stuck in mythic 3, so I completely, like, the first season it ever came out, which was a while ago now, I got stuck in mythic 3 for my first season. A little embarrassed to say that now, but that is what it is. Like, that's where I was at. So I would say a lot of old gen players could be in mythic if they never really pushed ranked. Like, let's say they pushed ranked 1 or 2 seasons. This is probably where they're going to land at. To get past this point, you kind of have to go at it a few seasons, I feel like, depending on how it all lines up for your time and everything. But at this point, you should have put in a pretty good amount of time in the game. I remember back in the day, I used to push like Mythic basically on the day it came out, but that was still a significant a lot of time. Like you're talking like 6 hours of just straight playing, maybe even more, depending on how often you win. But this is at the point like if you get past that D3 hump into Mythic 1, I really hope you're not a bad random at this point. Like I hope you're actually starting to put together things. This is where you start to develop those bad habits if you look at Mythic like players as a whole, usually they develop some really bad habits. Like their draft picks are good, like they're decent brawlers enough to get them past diamond with bad randoms. So they get used to carrying bad randoms and they don't synergize with the team's picks. As in like if I go in every single game mode and I pick Brock no matter what my teammates pick, sorry Brock mains. I mean I'm the one who does that a lot too. But later on in the ranks you need to learn to develop more of that team play style, and it's hard with people who don't synergize with you as well. But it all starts with you doing the right things, suggesting the right brawlers, picking the right brawlers, taking a leap of faith, or else nobody on your team of your randoms are ever going to do it. But I always recommend getting a team together, hopping in a VC. You get out of Mythic pretty fast once you coordinate. But this is at the point where you're able to carry people through Diamond. You're not necessarily a bad random anymore. You're just a bad random in Mythic. You're not a bad random in Diamond. So you kind of get upgraded. Being a bad random in Mythic basically means you pick horrible draft picks and you're not synergizing with your team. Now, if you get past Mythic and you get into Legendary, you're at the point where I really, 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 really hope you're making good draft picks. And honestly, I see a lot of Legendary players have good draft picks. The thing that stops people in Legendary a lot is the new elo system. Like from Mythic to Legendary, the elo is insane. It's an insane difference. So it's really just a lot of time and energy. But to get to Legendary, if you are a Legendary player at this point, you have decent draft picks. You might not have like a semi-pro or pro capabilities yet, but you're well on your way. All right, you should have months under your belt of ranked. You should be like ready to go. Basically, you might even have a few scrims under your belt at this point. Like these are players that can start like stepping into that competitive range, but just aren't really there yet. And this is the point where like I would say the highest rank in the game you can get while playing casually, like just not really trying to get masters. You just kind of like look, this is me. Like every season I'll literally just go to Legend 1 and not try to push. There was one season I went to Legendary 2 and I was like, I was like in here and then I lost like all the elo all the way back and I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And that was just solo queuing. So if I can solo queue to Legendary, a lot of people should be able to solo queue to Legendary. But this is at the point where if you do want to start pushing up to those higher tiers in Legendary and pushing to Masters, you want a team, you want a stack, you want people who can synergize picks, because that's what it's about. Draft picks wins ranked matches. It's not trophies where it's all mechanics and all just kind of luck or whatever else and time and grinding. This is actually just about draft picks at this point. So keep an eye on the meta, yada, yada, yada. If you're in Legendary, you're probably, this is the highest rank a casual player can get, as I said. All right. So now, Masters, if you hit Masters in the game, chances are you either did it the very first season Ranked came out, and you had that Ranked boost for the rest of the years or whatever, or your chances are you probably just play the game a lot, like probably too much, probably like this. You're treating it like it's your job, even though you're not getting paid. Chances are, if you're a Masters player, you're probably like doing too much work for no money kind of thing. This is like professional hobby type stuff. You really just don't touch grass. I have a lot of Master players in my club. I'll go to real quick. I think Mew just hit Masters actually. Yeah. So chances are you probably just you play the game too much. All right, let's be truth. Either you play the game too much, or you're at the casual legend category, but you get a group of friends and you just sit down and you grind out the Masters. But if you solo queue to Masters, chances are you have like no life outside of the game. Now, next stereotype, you have your top 200 global board. Chances are, if you're on this board towards the end of the season, like these guys, you're trying to turn your professional hobby, like your Masters player stuff, into some sort of paid opportunity. For example, these guys do like the carried ranks thing. By the way, never sign up for those services; they're just a waste of money. They do the paid carry to ranks, all that stuff. They promote their clubs. There's different things they do that they can get paid, and that's kind of their paid route, or they become like content creation or whatever. So typically, if you're on the board and you're shooting for the board, you're doing it more just for like more than bragging rights. It's for some sort of paid opportunity because it just takes a lot of time to do that. Um, and sometimes you get pros like Bellau. Sometimes you get pros like that, but I will say one thing: if you hit masters, it does not make you a pro player. I've seen so many master players that are not even close to a pro player. There's a huge difference between even the top 200 global masters. There's a huge difference between these guys and actual pro players. Different experience. But those are kind of your stereotypes and my thought process rank to rank. I figured we have 1 day and 16 hours left of the old season. So I figured we would enjoy these old stereotypes while they last, and we'll see what happens next season. Please leave a like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Thank you.